Hi, my name is Chris Schaefer, and I am a career health and safety professional. 25 years in the field, basically most of my working career. And I just was invited here to talk a little bit about masks, respirators, on, with the whole recent development and all of this pushing of masks, specifically N95 surgical and non-medical masks as a protection from a coronavirus that they call COVID. I felt compelled to share the truth. I wanted government to know the truth. I wanted health professionals to know the truth. And so on June 22nd, I wrote a letter to Dr. Hinshaw and 23 other doctors in charge of public health in Alberta, outlining a 4-page letter outlining my concerns with their recommendation that people wear these types of masks as a protection from a virus. So the pamphlet that is being handed out to you right now is really the contents of that letter. If you do have questions, by all means, come to me. I'd be more than happy. I'd like to meet you, and I'd like to talk with you after I'm done here speaking right now. One of the things that we do a lot of training for in my company is we train people to work safely around asbestos. And I don't know how familiar you are with asbestos, but asbestos is a mineral that's mined out of the ground. It was used in many building projects for thousands of years, and in Alberta and Canada up until about 1985. And so with asbestos, it breaks apart into very, very small particles, and when asbestos gets into your body, it can cause disease. And the more asbestos it gets in, obviously, the more disease it can cause. So if you look at any building in Edmonton, commercial or residential otherwise, if it was built prior to 1970, it's virtually guaranteed that it does have some of this carcinogenic asbestos in it. Virtually guaranteed. Now that being the case, asbestos is not really harmful in itself. We don't need to, if our house was made before 1970, you don't have to go and be fearful of it, because asbestos is only harmful if it gets into your body. And it's only going to get into your body if it's disturbed. So what we want to understand is that, it doesn't pose a risk to anybody if it's not disturbed, if it's not airborne. Now I want to show you something. This right here is a standard mask for somebody that gets fit tested and wears and works in asbestos abatement. And this mask here is equipped with filters that are a much higher rating than anything that's currently worn for COVID. This mask here has inhalation valves so the air can flow through easily, and you can absorb oxygen from that air. And then when you exhale your carbon dioxide, it has an exhalation valve right here that actually purges that exhaled air outside the mask. So you don't have to worry about accumulations of carbon dioxide in your mask, because that's very dangerous. So this is a type of mask that somebody that removes asbestos would wear as a basic. And if asbestos gets to be a much higher concentration, more friable, as they say, more dusty, then they may have to move up to what firefighters wear, which is a self-contained breathing apparatus. So this is the type of protection from asbestos. Now, asbestos is a small particle. Not only does somebody have to wear a mask like this and be fit tested for it, you can see it covers the eyes, nose, covers the whole face, but also they would have to wear a hood, they have to wear a full disposable coverall, because asbestos, because it's so small, it doesn't just enter through your mouth, your nose, your eyes, your ears. It also enters through the pores of your skin. And so there's no way to protect yourself from asbestos. If you're removing asbestos, you need full containment. You've got to be fully taped up, covered up. Your work area's got to be encapsulated to ensure that none of this asbestos dust gets into the general air environment. It's that hazardous, okay? Now, understand that this is asbestos, full encapsulation suit. Asbestos, when we look at a virus like COVID or any other virus for that matter, viruses are more than 100 times smaller. More than 100 times smaller. So when you look at protection, if you were going to protect yourself from a virus, this won't filter viruses. This is a much higher standard of respirator than what people are currently claiming will. As a result, this won't filter viruses. So understand that you can't filter viruses. There's nothing on the planet that will filter it. And even if you have an SCBA on, if your body is exposed and your skin is exposed and not in an encapsulated suit, you will be exposed because it will enter through your skin. So if you were going to protect yourself from virus, you would have to be in a fully encapsulated suit 24/7. You wouldn't be able to eat. You wouldn't be able to drink water. You wouldn't be able to use the washroom because then you'd be exposed and it would be that dangerous. So there is no protection from a virus for personal protective equipment. There's nothing that's effective, and we don't really have to worry too much, especially for things like coronaviruses and things like that, because the truth is that everybody has viruses in their body. We all do. It's part of our normal biological existence. In fact, we all have viruses from the moment of conception and all the way through the rest of our existence. And so it's a perfectly normal thing. The only time that you can get sick from a virus is if your immune system really starts to break down. And so the response to that is to nurture your immune system, bring it back to health, bring it back to strength. It beats viruses, and viruses can't do anything to you. So that is really the truth. And there's a lot of people that are pretty fearful right now about what's going on and everything else, and are afraid to speak their truth. And I encourage you all to speak your truth, because there's absolutely nothing to fear. A lot of people would fear, like say the ultimate fear would be fear of death. But the truth is that if we're alive, if we're living, we're also dying. Living and dying are not separate things. They're simultaneous. So from the moment of conception on, as we live, we die. As we live, we get closer to death. And we don't know when that moment will come. But I'll tell you what I've learned to conquer fear. Anytime I might feel a little fearful about speaking up, I always practice a system of instant elimination of any fear. And for me, that system is understanding and appreciating gratitude. So I try to be grateful all the time. I'm able to breathe right now. Every breath that comes in tells me I'm alive, and I celebrate that. Every time I exhale, I don't know if another breath will come to me. I don't know. And I can't guarantee that it will. And I'm not afraid of it, because as Epicurus said 5,000 years ago, he said, if death has come to you, you no longer exist. And if you exist, death has not come to you. So why fear something that can only exist when you do not?
No kidding. Amen.
So in wrapping up this year, I just want the truth, everyone to know the truth, that you can't have PPE from viruses. There's no PPE that does exist that can effectively protect you, but don't worry, everybody has viruses. They're all around us, they're in us, they exist in us. This is not a matter of opinion. This is a scientific fact. If you want to do your research and you go back to your high school or any type of basic science material, you'll see that this is accepted information. And vaccines are just obviously a poison that they put in people to tell people that they're going to get healthy from this. And it obviously doesn't make any sense at all, because if you want to get healthy, you don't give yourself a poison, you give yourself nutrition. Okay. One other thing that I wanted to just say is that what they're doing in the schools right now is very, very wrong and dangerous for children. One thing that they're doing is they're implementing masks across the board. And if you're wearing a mask, and that mask is not engineered for inhalation and exhalation, it's not filtering anything, and it becomes difficult to breathe, then it becomes a very real health hazard. And so a mask is not a respirator. They can be completely different. This happens to be a respirator that is a mask, but not all masks are respirators. They're not designed for breathing. They become a form of slow suffocation, slow self-suffocation. And that's all a cover does. If it blocks you, makes it harder to breathe, you know that it's causing oxygen deficiency in your blood. And the longer that goes on, the more dangerous it becomes to your health, it becomes dangerous to your immune system, weakens your immune system, and then the moisture and heat that accumulates on the inside material of the mask, all that does is become the perfect breeding ground for the formation of bacteria and viruses and fungi. And as that bacteria and fungus grows, you then re-inhale that, and that causes disease. So masks can easily cause disease by reducing oxygen, not being engineered for depletion of carbon dioxide, and also masks are dangerous because they get wet, they get moist, they get humid, they stay warm, and that's the breeding for bacteria and fungi. And then people inhale it, they're getting sick from the mask. Rashes, pleurisy in the lung, pneumonia-like symptoms. These are the dangers. So I'll tell you, I'm a health and safety specialist. I'll do anything to protect my health and safety. I'm all for health and safety, and if it can ever be proven that this is, and it can't be in this way, but if it was safe, I would do it. If it was healthy, I would do it. But it's not, and I can't, and I have to tell people the truth, and that's what I'm here for today. So thank you for your time.